very aware at this point that you need some pretty great genetics to have a pretty amazing physique. Don't get me wrong, you can have an amazing physique without the really, really awesome genetics, but it's just going to be a hell of a lot harder. But here's one thing I don't think anyone's ever considered, especially not me. Short forearms being a adequate genetic change to a better physique. I have never considered this, but now I'm starting to consider it a gift. A really weird, disproportionate, maybe not super favorable gift outside of just having a sick physique. My gear babies, we're going to talk about a guy named Tyler today. As soon as I throw up this picture, you're going to know exactly why. This is a completely normal sized human being. He's got normal height. He is a normal sized in proportion human being everywhere else, but he does have one discrepancy, and that is his forearm size. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen anyone with these proportions, but it's kind of fucking nuts. These short forearms make him look absolutely yoked. He does claim natural, but here's the thing. This isn't really as much of a genetic abnormality. Well, it kind of is. More so, it's a disease. And it's a disease that's extremely rare called MHE. The name of it you probably never need to know, but here it is if you want to know. Multiple hereditary exostosis. I don't. It sounds like a fucking spell from Harry Potter. I don't know if that's accurate. If it's wrong, please tell me. Essentially, what this is it's where non-cancerous bone growths do develop at a very young age. Essentially, they're bone tumors that grow out of the growth plates in the human body. The thing is when these extra bits of bone grow out of the growth plates, it then closes those growth plates, keeping you pretty short. Oftentimes, people will have this and create really short legs, or just have miniaturized bodies overall, and they stop growth and development very young. In this case, in Tyler's case, he seems to have actually just localized the inhibition of growth in the growth plates to his forearms. And to be honest, I think his physique looks pretty amazing for it. And I'm sure it gives him a solid level of strength production as well, because honestly, if you have that short of forearms, your levers are hugely improved. But it also leads me to a funny question, which is like, what is the best genetic traits to have in bodybuilding? Taking Tyler into the new calculations in my mind, I think having shorter forearm length is ideal, as well as shorter femur length. Both of these things create smaller levers, which creates more ability to create mechanical tension at higher weights, leading to greater development of your core musculature, back, chest, these kind of things. Having a really tapered rib cage, where your rib cage from the top to bottom is compressed in more often than out. And a lot of the reasons that people don't have good looking vacuums when they do pull a vacuum is because their rib cage is simply too far out or too expanded at any one given time for that to be a good look. Having wide shoulders is a necessity, an absolute necessity in bodybuilding. And obviously the other thing that we've talked about before on this channel, which you probably know where I'm going with this already, is the genetic variability within androgen receptor density, and then myostatin inhibition through other genetic modifications, or I should say mutations. These traits very few people have in society. It's something like 3% out of overall world population that has these particular genetics, which is a lot of people, but no one that you or I would cross paths with on a daily basis. And I talk about this a lot, but you gear babies are probably well aware of it anyways. Bodybuilding is a genetic pageantry. Genetics can scale from okay, good, great, to literally the human equivalent of Zeus. You can take all the substances in the world and not get to a level that someone who has a very, very high proclivity to genetic eliteness, and that fucking sucks. But it's true. If your genetics don't allow you to surpass natural limits, you're going to need to take more drugs to surpass those natural limits. And in doing so, your progress will be throttled at some point or another due to literally the limitation of being able to take more drugs, the limitation of being able to eat more food, or the limitation to be able to train even more at higher volumes. One of these factors is going to shit out on you, and you're going to be stuck at some spot. And I'm not trying to be a doomsdayist here. I'm just being honest. This is what bodybuilding is. If you want to make it to the Olympia, you have to conceptualize that these guys are literally handpicked from crops of bodybuilders everywhere. For example, another freak that we could use is Rubiel, or you may know him as Nexzilla. This human being has by far some of the freakiest proportions that I've ever seen in any bodybuilder ever, full stop. I mean, real talk, his physique just looks goofy standing there. Like, I don't even know how to describe the proportions, but he has some of those genetic proclivities that we've spoken about already, and one of which I'm going to be releasing a video on here soon, the myostat inhibition could be what we're looking at here. But he has shorter femurs, he does have long stronger forearms, which is interesting because I think if you're actually to shorten his forearms by like 2 inches, his arms would actually look even bigger. He has broad shoulders, and of course, he has the most gargantuan neck I've ever seen in my life. And I really do believe that probably 95% of his physique is due to genetics, and the other 5% is due to just amazing work ethic. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but man, the guy is genetically inequivalent to anyone he stands near. That has to be admitted. And his gifts are very apparent. Like his muscle bellies are bigger than most anybody, and his neck in particular is massive. I don't actually know if his neck's a gift. That actually could very well be a curse. I mean, like imagine hugging homie, like a really embracing hug, you know, where you kind of like put your head on the other side of the other guy's neck and you're like, give me a hug, bro. And it's like you just have this python hanging on your, like, how does that work? Is he unable to hug another soul for the rest of his life? I don't know. Anyways, allegedly, this guy has some short forearms, and really do believe that this is probably one of the things that can make a bodybuilder better. It appears that his forearms uniquely allow him to have and sustain a better looking and bigger physique compared to someone with longer forearms like myself with these ape-like arms. But I guess that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.